Hello everybody, this is Benna and Dave with System Improvements, and you're joining us with TapRooT TV. It is Wednesday at noon, and we just love getting together with you all this time every single week. And today, the topic we're going to talk about has to do with something we talk about a lot on here, very briefly, and this time let's just talk about the whole thing, and that's audits and being proactive. I have Dave Janey here with me today. How are you, Dave?
Good. Welcome to TapRooT TV, everybody.
Exactly. And he wrote this book. He co-wrote this book with Mark Paradise and Linda Unger. And as all of our books always have to read the title, it's TapRooT Cause Analysis for Audits and Proactive Performance Improvement. And
easy for you to say.
It's so easy for me to say, I know. No, it's not. But this is a topic it's near and dear to our hearts, isn't it? I mean, we just...
Especially mine. Especially mine, because I've lived it.
I mean, well, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I've worked in both a reactive environment and a proactive environment.
Okay.
And what I can tell you is working in a proactive environment, number one, gives you better results.
Yep.
But it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. So I think it's really important. Yeah.
And a lot less stressful, I would say.
Oh, much less stressful.
So that's probably why in the beginning of your book, the quote, Benjamin Franklin, what is it, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah.
That it's perfect for this topic, because if we can prevent things, that's perfect. TapRooT is great for, analyzing and fixing issues once they've happened. But let's try to get them to not happen in the first place, right?
That would be nice.
So
be nice.
Why do a lot of people not use proactive?
Well, really there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons. And I do spend a lot of time trying to convince people to be more proactive. And, there's a lot of reasons, but in the foreword of the book, I actually give a few different ones.
Yeah.
And some of them I can help you with. Some of them I probably can't. But, the first one is time.
Oh, yeah.
When I talked about proactive with people, usually they'll agree with me and they'll say, oh, that makes a lot of sense, that's great, but see, our company's different. We don't have enough time.
Right.
And here's the thing though, you're not different. No one has extra time, no one has extra resources, but the thing is, this is really just a perception problem, because you have to spend time when you're reactive anyway.
More time.
So why not just spend it more proactively? The timing is going to be the same. In fact, I believe if you get really good at being proactive, the time you spend is actually less. And I know for a fact the money you spend is less.
Absolutely.
So that's time. The next one is they don't have enough reason. They don't have enough pain. So if your company's already really good, maybe you feel like, you've arrived. But everybody can improve, no matter how good you are. So it's real easy to convince somebody that's not too good that they need to improve.
And that's kind of a dangerous comfort zone.
It is, because then you start to backslide.
Yeah.
So you never really arrive at your improvement destination. Everybody can get better.
Right.
And so that's an issue. The next one is they don't have the buy-in. And it could be management buy-in, or it could be employee buy-in. And one thing I've learned throughout the years, being in quality, being in safety, is that you can't be a one-person show.
No.
You have to have everybody. I don't care if you're the best safety person, the best quality person in the world. If you don't have everybody involved, you're probably going to fail and you're going to get real frustrated. So you've got to have that buy-in before you do anything else.
You're a big proponent of that.
Oh, yeah. It's really important.
Yeah.
The next thing is the one I can't help with, which is human nature.
Right.
Procrastination.
Yes.
Some people just procrastinate and kind of cross their fingers and hope nothing bad happens. And that also becomes the culture of the company sometimes. And so if your company has kind of a short-term vision and doesn't look out several years and really have an understanding of what their mission and vision is, then they become very reactive. And so I can't change humans.
Right.
But the last one, I think, is one we can really help with, is sometimes people, they know they need to improve and they want to improve. Maybe they have the buy-in to improve, but they don't really know how.
Right.
And that's probably the hard part. And that's where TapRooT comes in.
Yes.
And that's where the book can help you.
Well, just real quick, there's a lot of companies that are pretty decent at this, and they do perform their audits and stuff, but their audits aren't yielding improvements. So that's kind of, TapRooT kind of can come into play there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the things is, you know, back when I first got into auditing, it wasn't something that all companies did. And now I'd say, you know, fast forward 25 years, everybody does audits.
Yes.
But everybody doesn't really get results from audits.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because they make it more of a paperwork exercise, and it's a requirement, it's something we have to do. But here's the thing, if you spend a lot of time doing audits and it doesn't result in improvement, you have just wasted your time. I mean, you're just checking a box. So, you know, why do people do audits and spend all this time and effort and money and staffing? Why do they do all this and yet still not get results? And there's a lot of reasons for that, which we probably don't have time for.
Right.
But the number one reason, in my opinion, is they don't do good root cause analysis on what they find. So they do the hard work of going out and collecting the information and finding what the issues are, but then they write corrective actions on the things they find, but they don't really understand what the root causes are. So if you're going to have good corrective actions, you've got to get to root cause. And I don't believe a lot of companies' audit programs get to that level. And that's where TapRooT can help.
Well, and you were saying back before, what we can't help with, probably those lack of results and lack of improvement, they take away a lot of their desire, you know, well, why do it?
Yeah.
So that can kind of come into play there as well.
Proactive improvement is not instant gratification.
Right.
It's something that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of years to get really good at. So you can't come back after a month and say, oh, look, we haven't improved. You know, you really have to step back and look at a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you'll be able to see that after a few years, wow, look how far we've come.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, we're doing less investigations now.
Right.
Because our proactive stuff is starting to kick in.
How nice is that?
And that's where you want to get to be.
So the difference in an incident investigation root cause analysis and a root cause analysis of an audit finding, what's the difference?
Well, actually, as far as the analysis, and I'll take it a step further, the corrective actions. The root cause analysis and the corrective actions are exactly the same.
Okay.
Because you're going to use the TapRooT tools that you learn in the course. You're going to use the root cause tree. You're going to use all the corrective action tools we teach you.
Right.
And so the root cause analysis is absolutely no different. What's different is how you get to what you want to analyze. Because with an investigation, something has happened, you know what's happened, you kind of have a good idea of what's gone wrong, you go out and you start to collect that evidence, and once you get that evidence, you can start to analyze it for root cause.
Gotcha.
And, you know, we always talk about evidence collection and things when we talk about investigations. But the way I look at it is auditing is evidence collection. But you're not collecting evidence of an incident.
Right.
You're collecting evidence of what could cause an incident. And so the approach to how you actually go out and get that information is quite a bit different. It's very similar. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, it's harder. But if you do it right, it can really help you get some good issues that you can fix. And so if you think about our TapRooT process, it's 7 steps for our major investigation process. It's also 7 steps for our proactive improvement process.
Right.
The first 3 steps in proactive are a little bit different. The last 4 steps from root cause all the way through corrective actions and reports, exactly the same. Absolutely no difference. And so I think, you know, as auditors, sometimes we just think about running around with the checklist and checking things off. But, you know, I really want to stress that I believe auditing is evidence collection of what could go wrong.
I love that.
If you kind of think about it that way, it changes your mindset, and you realize that, you know, all the hard work you're doing on the front end actually results in something.
Right.
On the back end.
Something I read when I was researching some of this in your book that I thought was interesting was, like, in the audit you would have an observer. And often that observer, though, could put people on, I mean, they could be on more alert. They may do a better job than they probably would on a normal basis. So it's very important to have the right person doing that. Maybe it's your peer doing it versus someone of...
You know, there's so many different ways to do it, and there's no right or wrong way. But, you know, a lot of times when we think of auditing, we do think about watching people work.
Right.
But that's not really all of it, because there's so many things you can do. Interviews are an excellent way to get information in an audit. You know, when we talk about doing investigations, we always talk about interviewing.
Right.
But interviewing is a really, really effective tool for auditing. For example, if you didn't do something very often, let's say you did something 3 times a day.
Right.
I might have to watch you for 2 or 3 days just to get a little bit of data on whether you can do that job.
Gotcha.
Well, right? If I interview you and you can't tell me how to do it,
right,
I already know it doesn't work.
Right.
So why do I need to waste 2 days standing there watching you work when in fact you can't tell me?
Yeah.
Now, to your point, you know, there's always been debate about, you know, announced audits versus unannounced audits, and the way I look at it is I don't want to be sneaky as an auditor, and certainly sometimes there's a reason to, you know, watch people when they're not aware of it and things like that. But one thing I've always felt is that if you don't know how to do something properly, you can't fake it for me.
No,
because
that's
I'm
true.
doing an audit.
Absolutely.
Now, if you know how to do it and you just don't do it, maybe you can fake it for me. I can probably tell.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've done hundreds of audits, so I probably can tell.
You've got this figured out. Yeah.
But yeah. So you know, what I want to know is, does the company have the right things in place? Is it working properly? Because I mean, it can sound great on paper. But that doesn't mean it works for the person that actually has to do it.
Yeah.
So when I watch you do something in an audit, I'm not doing it so I can catch you doing something wrong.
Right.
I'm watching the process.
Absolutely.
I'm auditing the process, not you. But you can't fake it if you don't know how to do it.
Well, and there was something about also, you know, if the company is used to doing a number of audits, the people are going to be more comfortable with that process.
That's right. That comes back to your culture.
Yeah.
Is auditing a gotcha game?
Right.
Or is it an improvement game?
Right.
And I've seen a lot of people, and a lot of times it's when people are new at auditing, is they run out there and they do what I call kind of a scorched earth audit. And they run out there and they're real nice, and then at the end they have a whole list of things you did wrong. And that's not really the proper way to audit, because auditing is a partnership between the auditor and the auditee.
Yeah.
You know, for the purpose of collecting that information to understand how well things work and improve them. That's really the purpose of it. So, you know, these people that run around and do these scorched earth audits, they're probably not really getting the right results, and they're not going to get the buy-in, and they're probably not going to really be able to fix too much.
Boy, this is something
but that comes through experience a lot.
This is something we could like talk about, could you? Well, also you discuss in the book 3 widely used ways to be proactive or to proactively improve the performance, Six Sigma, let's see, what was it, PDCA and Lean. Can you just briefly tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so the book that Benna referred to, and sometimes there's a little bit of glare, but so the book, you know, when we changed from a big thick book to several smaller books, one of the reasons we did that is to make it more digestible.
Right.
And so this book, you can read it in just a few hours. And chapter 1 is all about auditing.
Right.
How do you apply TapRooT to your audit process? So that's chapter 1, and that's most of the stuff in here. But chapter 2 talks about other forms of proactive improvement. So I'm not necessarily going out and doing a one-time audit and trying to do analysis on it, but what I'm trying to do is continuous improvement. And so Six Sigma is something that's been around for a long time.
Right. We hear that all the time.
Most quality people know about Six Sigma. A lot of safety people know about it, but you know, not everybody's been involved in it. Some of us don't even know about it, but most of us have probably heard or used PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act. Sometimes it's referred to as PDSA, Plan, Do, Study Act, but it's a continuous improvement cycle. And really, the way I like to describe Six Sigma is, because honestly, everybody tries to make it seem like rocket science, but it's not. It's Plan, Do, Check, Act on steroids.
Okay.
It just has more definition.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
They're both a continuous improvement process. So if you're going to do continuous improvement, you have to do root cause analysis and you have to do corrective action.
Yes.
And so what you can do is you can use TapRooT within your existing Six Sigma program, within your existing Plan, Do, Check, Act program, and you can incorporate TapRooT as your root cause tool and as some of your corrective action process.
Right.
And so what you're doing, I'm not telling you to throw out Six Sigma and bring in TapRooT. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is incorporate TapRooT tools into your existing use of the process, and that can really help you. Now, this will work with Lean also.
Yes.
Lean's a little bit different. because what lean is about really is reducing waste. So it's continuous improvement, but it's really reducing waste. And so there's a couple different things you can do. You can incorporate the tools into your lean program, or you can actually analyze waste as an incident. When you put together your snap chart, the first thing we always teach you to do in a snap chart is put the circle up with the incident, right? Well, to me, if I'm running a company and I have millions of dollars worth of waste, that's a pretty big incident.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you build a snap chart and the circle is waste. So whatever waste you have, whether it's wasted manpower, project delays, whatever is causing you problems at your company, in my opinion, that's an incident. So you map out the process, you put the waste in the circle, you collect all your data, and it's just like doing an investigation. But it's doing an investigation on your process, not on an incident. This
is great information. I mean, this has to be an integral part of people's performance improvement program. It just has to be.
I think it does.
Yeah. He really goes in much deeper on this stuff in the book. You can get it on our website at taproot.com/store. And also, go to our blog, because we talked about the blog last week and kind of showed you how to find certain topics. You could go to our blog, and up in the left-hand corner there's a little search box. Type in the word audit, and all of the audit articles, videos, you've done numerous videos on these things, or type in the word proactive, and you will just get a ton of content of things that you can learn to delve deeper into all of this. So we really do hope you will take advantage of all that information out there. That's great, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us today and going through this. There's probably some topics we can pull out and talk about in the future and kind of dig in a little deeper. So anyway, thank you all for joining us today. Please join us on all of our social media platforms. Join us here next Wednesday at noon Eastern for another one of our TapRooT TV episodes. And in the meantime, be safe and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.